TikTok and the moment of truth beckons in the Senate. The first person up is the Kericho Governor, Eric Mutai. The second person, halfway through the week, is the Deputy President Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who chose today to rely on divine intervention, invoking hymns and scripture, awaiting his fate this coming week. We have details lined up for you tonight.
Now, on family matters, we're going to be discussing female genital mutilation. Kenya may have missed her mark of 2022 to having eradicated this rite of passage, but then it has been described as damaging, deadly, and crippling. That's the conversation tonight.
Absolutely. And of course, you've also had the controversy surrounding the Adani deal. And guess who defended it today? The former ODM leader. Because there is a leader that is in acting capacity, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. But he says that the deal is clean, or could probably just mismatching the name of the Adani group. We have details also lined up for you, but here are tonight's highlights.
She's like, I had a plan, and this is it. While she is a mom, she forgoed being a cop. She is now going to break the tape of the 2024 Bank of America Chicago Marathon.
Crossing the finishing line, Kenya's Ruth Chepngetich makes history after smashing the women's world marathon record in Chicago.
Perspective ya ile itatokea, nataka kuuliza amani katika hii Embu, katika Mlima Kenya, katika Kenya nzima. Sisi tuko na nchi ya Kenya, hatuna nchi nyingine.
Put your faith in God, Gachagua tells Kenyans as he appeals for calm ahead of his date with the Senate. And Odinga defends Adani Group. Raila defends Adani Group deal, saying Kenya requires public-private partnerships for infrastructure development.
Our sign language interpreter tonight is Byron Abuli. Welcome to Sunday Express. My name is John Jacob Kioria.
And I am Regina Manyara.
To start us off, some good news. Kenya's Ruth Chepngetich smashed the women's marathon world record in Chicago, setting a historic time to break the 2 hours 10 minutes barrier.
While John Korir also clocked the 2 hours 2 minutes.
Going for it, and that's what I said right when we were going away. I'm like, she's got to get back on it.
Chepngetich clocked an astonishing time of 2 hours, 9 minutes and 57 seconds, eclipsing the previous record of 2 hours, 11 minutes and 53 seconds set by Tigista Sefa in Berlin last September. The 30-year-old, who won the Chicago Marathon for the third time after previous victories in 2021 and 2022, was stunned after crossing the finish line.
Something, let's get her here, everybody. We have seen it. Bring it on, Neil Armstrong. We have another woman that has done something just like you. This is amazing right here. Sub 210, everybody. That woman has worked so hard. She's done things in this sport that we have not seen. She did it again today. Unbelievable. Another world record at the Bank of America Chicago Marathon.
Chepngetich's world record came a year after the late Kelvin Kiptum broke the men's marathon world record in Chicago. Chepngetich entered the race as the fourth fastest woman in history with a personal best of 2 hours, 14 minutes and 18 seconds.
Now on Mount Roosevelt, he's about to make that turn onto Columbus Drive. He is about to become the 2024 Bank of America Marathon champion.
Kenya also won the men's title after John Korir clocked 2 hours, 2 minutes and 43 seconds to emerge victorious. Ethiopia's Hussein Mohamed Issa finished second in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 39 seconds, while Amos Kipruto finished third in 2 hours, 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
To Mr. John Korir from Kenya, unofficially the time 2:02:42 unofficially. What a great finish, great negative split. We'll have to check on that negative split for you, but he definitely came.
Korir ran both the 2022 and 2023 Chicago marathons, and despite running two of the fastest times of his career, finished third and fourth respectively. This year's finish also marked an unofficial personal best.
Coming into this race, he had run,
Now let's wade into the murky waters of impeachment, Regina.
Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has called on Kenyans to remain calm and peaceful as he prepares to defend himself in the Senate.
Speaking during a church service to commemorate the 34th anniversary of the ACK Embu Diocese on Sunday, Gachagua urged the public to pray for him and the nation amid heightened political tensions following his impeachment by the National Assembly.
Here's our reporter Abdiaziz Hashim with the details.
Irrespective ya ile tatokea, nataka kuuliza amani katika hii Embu, katika Mlima Kenya, katika Kenya nzima. Sisi tuko na nchi ya Kenya, hatuna nchi nyingine.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, who is currently facing trial before the Senate following his impeachment by the National Assembly, has urged Kenyans to place their trust in God and remain united regardless of the outcome.
Yale yote ambayo inaendelea Kenya msijali. Si ndio? Si iko Mungu mbinguni. Sisi ni Wakristo na tunamwamini Mwenyezi Mungu. Na Mungu atafanya mapenzi yake. Binadamu wanaweza panga mambo mingi, lakini iko Mungu mbinguni. Muendelee kutuombea. Muendelee kuombea nchi yetu.
In the days of trouble, when the waves are hitting against a nation, I urge you to have faith. I urge you to have faith in God. In God, there is victory. Say, in God, there is victory.
Speaking during a church service in Embu, Gachagua reassured the congregation that despite the political storm, God is in control.
Sisi tulichaguliwa na watu wengi hawa ya Embu. Si ndio? Sijui kama tawezekana tulichaguliwa na hii watu yote tufukuzwe na watu wachache. Hiyo ni haki kweli watu ya Embu?
Gachagua expressed confidence in the judiciary to handle the situation fairly if it escalates.
Lakini sisi tuna imani kubwa sana na mahakama zetu. Our judiciary is very professional, and I have no doubt in my mind that our eminent judges will protect and uphold the Constitution, the rule of law, and always make sure that the will of the people is sovereign.
Gachagua also commended the 44 members of parliament who voted against the impeachment motion, encouraging leaders to heed the wishes of their constituents.
Na ndio mimi namshukuru huyu mjumbe wenu Getonga Mukunji, alipiga kura, alisikiza watu wa Embu vile wanase. Hata huyu Dabwen alikuwa ameandika barua, akakuja Embu, akasikiza watu, akapinduka. Akafuata vile wananchi wanafanya nini? Kwa sababu sisi zote ni watu ya kuchaguliwa. Na ni mzuri usikize ile watu ambao wamefanya nini? Kwa hivyo watu wa Embu mlichagua mimi na President William Ruto, mkatupatia kura zenu zote. Tungeuliza uamuzi wa raia uheshimike. Kwa sababu raia wanapiga kura miaka 5.
The Senate's impeachment trial of Gachagua is scheduled for October 16th and 17th, 2024. Abdiaziz Hashim for Sunday Express.
And it now looks like the judiciary is the last line of defense for the deputy president. But what other options exist? Because he appears to be facing insurmountable odds ahead over the impeachment hearing in the Senate if voting in the National Assembly on Tuesday is anything to go by.
Now, the birth of the broad-based government means Azimio and Kenya Kwanza coalitions command a majority in the upper house.
But the DP can still keep his job if he manages to convince at least 23 of the 67 senators that that will vote against the removal or for the removal.
Now, political reporter Abdiaziz Hashim looks at the options that the second command has in his fight for political survival.
The historic debate in the National Assembly last week was intense.
When the deputy president is at the forefront demeaning women in leadership.
Kenyans have said that Kitwisen in particular said, kufa makanga, kufa ndereva, kufa mechanic. because Kenyans are more serious issues.
I urge members to find favor with my motion from clause 1 to clause 11, and as you vote to impeach Mr. Rigathi Gachagua.
Rigathi Gachagua has learned his job from his boss, that public officers must be called to order when they fell short of expectation. And I never saw anybody bring William Ruto here for impeachment or criticizing the IG or the DCI.
From the onset, the mood of the House was telling of the fate that was likely to befall the DP, with a majority of legislators faulting his leadership. And when the motion was voted for,
the ayes, 281.
Come forward.
A verdict that set the ball rolling, leaving little legal room for reconciliation or dialogue.
Tuache malumbano yao bungeni na katika Senate na hata katika kotini, lakini sisi tufanye kazi yetu kwa pamoja ya biashara.
And with the horse having left the barn, on Wednesday the DP will face the Herculean task of pleading his case before the senators.
And the Senate shall then investigate the matter in plenary on Wednesday the 16th and Thursday the 17th of October 2024. The Senate is accordingly guided.
August House passed a blanket judgment into him. But when you go to the Senate, it's going to be one item after the other. But then when you look at the 3 counts from where he is being charged and you try to battle each of these, the 11 counts of accusations against him, you find that what happened in the August House is always going to happen in the Senate House, and majority of those charges are going to pass through.
To survive politically, he will need to convince at least 23 of the 67 senators to vote against his removal.
In accord with Article 8 of the agreement, power would be allocated the position of the Speaker of the Senate. He negotiated for himself.
Rigathi is on record stating that he will not throw in the towel.
There was a lot of speculation that Rigathi Gachagua wants to resign.
Legal minds argue that Gachagua and his battery of lawyers can premise their case on the happenings on the floor of the House that led to 282 MPs voting in favor of his ouster.
Issues like public participation and whether he was given an adequate opportunity to prosecute his case. There were issues about some of the videos being shown to him for the first time on the floor of the National Assembly. And then obviously public participation. The public seemed to be against the motion, but the results given by the National Assembly seemed to indicate that the public was overwhelmingly in support. The kind of violence that attended some of those sessions, including at Bomas, he has the chance to go to court. For example, the question whether they should have listened to both the mover and Gachagua first, and then sought public opinion, having heard both sides to the dispute, instead of presenting the public with one side of the story. And there's always the danger of a single side of the story. Those are live disputes before the court.
As the dust settles, the gravity of the political acts before him cannot be ignored.
Irrespective of the statements that we want to put forth in terms of maturity, in terms of the kind of persons we have there, we're in one political field, the Kenyan political field. How politics played in the August House, if we extrapolate that to the Senate House, a majority of 75% voting against him, if that is extrapolated to the Senate House, then we would see a difference. If we borrow what happened to her and the way things have gone, there could be a lifeline. There could probably not be a lifeline, but as soon as the Senate decides, then we have a different playing field that would require another level of intervention, which I don't think would give him a lifeline. From where I'm sitting, I think if Senate passes that he has to go, then we go into our history that we have impeached a deputy president for the first time in the last many years that we have been an independent country.
His political career hangs in the balance, and the option for a clean exit are rapidly diminishing with resignation off the table.
On nonsensical allegations, simply because a decision has been made
that Rigathi Gachagua is no longer useful to this administration. He is a spent cartridge. His work was to help fight Uhuru Kenyatta and get President William Ruto to power. And thereafter, he is of no use, so he should be dispensed with.
So if impeached by the Senate, what next for the DP?
Okay, so he has the option of going to court. The matter is purely political, with the court having no jurisdiction. But if you look at Article 165 3D, it says that anything done under the Constitution belongs to the jurisdiction of the court. Impeachment is one of the things done under Article 145 and 150 of the Constitution. So he has a right to go to court.
If the DP had opted to resign, he would have been entitled to his benefits.
That if that impeachment goes through and we see the current deputy president becoming a jobless person in this country in terms of political office holding, then the democracy of this country is advancing.
And as the Senate prepares to deal with the matter this week, it is not lost that already there is talk of who shall succeed him as the deputy president if he is ousted by the Senate in a process outlined in Article 149 of the Constitution. It is now a game of wait and see if the Senate will uphold his impeachment and seal his political fate, or if he will survive and stay in office.
He must put that in consideration when he's electing the next person. If this impeachment goes through, who is going to deputize him? He must think, who is this person that when I bring on board is going to act as a neutral factor and a unifying factor to bolster my position as the president of this Republic of Kenya? And he has a huge choice. He has so many persons that he can bring there. He needs also to be forward-looking.
Abdiaziz Oshim for Sunday Express.
And that being the case is that the Senate will for the first time since its establishment converse an impeachment motion against a sitting deputy president.
Voting will not be restricted to delegations, as each member will have an opportunity to vote on each of 11 charges against the deputy president.
Now, our reporter Gladys Mungai examines the litmus test for the Senate amid divided opinion by legal pundits on whether the allegations in the impeachment motion meet the legal and constitutional threshold, or it is a political question that requires a political process.
The Senate will this week hear accusations and counter-accusations as DP Gashagua's team seeks to defend him following his impeachment by the National Assembly. The impeachment process will kick off with a pre-hearing meeting by senators in a closed-door session before the preliminaries, where the rules of the procedure and schedule for debate for the next 2 days will be spelled out. This will be followed up by opening statements from both sides and the presentation of evidence before questions and clarifications are sought, followed by closing statements and voting. As senators gear up for the exercise, legal and governance expert Professor Fred Ogola opines that the charges brought against DP Rigathi Gachagua are more political than legal.
I've not seen impeachable offenses against Gachagua. Why? In as much as I might not like Gachagua, but there's no impeachable offenses. Truth be said, that what they are talking about corruption is criminal, which should be taken to court, because Parliament do not have a criminal process to look for criminal justice. Parliament are not made of judges. So Parliament should not try a criminal offense. If it is fairness, they should take it to what? To court.
It is a process that he says will set a precedence on how future impeachments will be conducted, and hence presents a litmus test.
The public said, Kufa Makanga, Kufa Dereva. That was what was said throughout the country, isn't it? So how did Parliament use that information in their ruling when they're impeaching Gachagua? Have you seen how they have used it? So because of this, the public participation was poorly done. Gachagua was not given a chance to explain himself to the public. Gachagua there were no MPs going to the constituencies with a contrary view that Gachagua is not going to be impeached. They went with Gachagua should be impeached. So 44 MPs were not given a chance also to go with a document stating that this is the reason why Gachagua should not be impeached. So because of that, public participation is another thing. So will the Senate give a public participation a wide berth.
Given the political dynamics at play, a tough battle may unfold as the Senate moves to consider the 11 grounds listed, evidence adduced, and the outcome of the public participation on the impeachment motion.
No. Why I'm saying so, when MPs went for public participation, they took the accusation that Parliament have against Gachagua, isn't it? But what was missing was Gachagua's response. No, you cannot try me, you cannot take me for a judge, and the prosecutor arranges the prosecution, then the judge rules. Who was the judge? The people. And public participation is not cosmetic.
With the eyes of the nation fixed at the Senate, Gachagua's impeachment trial, regardless of its outcome, is set to leave a lasting impact on Kenya's political landscape.
If Gachagua wants to act on his sphere of control, he needs to resign before being impeached, because if he's impeached, it's like castrating him politically. You know, even if Gachagua has built a lot of political capital before, during, and after this impeachment, you are useless if you cannot contest a seat. Just like Babayao has political capital, but cannot contest. Sonko has, cannot contest. So he could have resigned if he's not sure about what's happening, but no one is sure.
For Sunday Express, I'm Gladys Mongai.
And there is no doubt that the impeachment proceedings in the Senate as well as the National Assembly last week is totally unprecedented, because it's the first time the country is attempting these impeachment proceedings against a sitting deputy president, particularly under the 2010 Constitution. And clearly, all our eyes will be in that chamber from Wednesday.
Now, talking about eyes, we want you to keep it right here on Sunday Express, as we're going to be talking about the strides that have been made in eradicating female genital mutilation. Do keep here.
Sasa kuna tia mpya na rahisi ya kucheza avieta. Dial *419# kwenye simu yako na ucheze wakati wowote.
Welcome to the Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, or KDIC, a state corporation established under the KDI Act Cap 487C. But who exactly are we? KDIC provides a deposit insurance for customers of member institutions. This means we protect your hard-earned money deposited in banks, giving you peace of mind knowing that your savings are safe. KDIC is also mandated to receive, liquidate, and wind up troubled banks, as well as provide incentives for sound risk management. We are here to protect your bank deposit and, together with other safety net players, ensure a stable financial system. KDIC. Safer, stronger, together.
Welcome back to Sunday Express. And President William Ruto says that the rollout of a social health insurance fund that is SHAFE will ensure that no Kenyan is left behind in healthcare access.
The president, who spoke during the 30th anniversary celebration of the African Inland Church in Nairobi, said for the first time, all Kenyans will have health insurance, noting that the government has already registered 12.8 million people under the new Social Health Authority, SHA.
Despite teething problems experienced with the rollout of the Social Health Insurance Fund, SHIF, President William Ruto says the fund will ensure that for the first time, the government provides medical care to all Kenyans.
Because it is our intention to make sure that no Kenyan is left behind on matters health. For the first time, every Kenyan will have a health insurance. For the first time.
President Ruto, who was speaking during the 30th anniversary celebration of the African Inland Church in Nairobi, said the government had already successfully registered 12.8 million people under the new Social Health Authority, SHA.
I want to thank faith-based institutions that run hospitals in Kenya for stepping forward and partnering with us. Today, we have registered close to 12.8 million people under the new UHC program.
The president, who steered clear of politics, instead expressed pride in Kenya's global standing, calling on the nation to look forward, outlining key initiatives that reflect his administration's commitment to uplifting lives of Kenyans.
And I will not look back in making sure that I oversee the transformation of Kenya. Implementing some of the transformational changes to change our nation requires prayers, requires commitment.
Ben Chumba, Sunday Express.
Now to the controversial Adani deal, opposition chief Raila Odinga has thrown his weight behind the Adani Group takeover for critical infrastructure through a public-private partnership model.
The African Union Commission chairperson candidate says while Kenyans remain constrained in the payment of taxes owing to a difficult economic situation, the PPP concept, such as the Adani Group, is the most viable and reliable means through which to address the country's infrastructure needs.
But in what is now the evident divide within the opposition ranks, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka says the Kenya Kwanza administration is continually advancing state capture with the signing of the Adani deals.
The latest controversy surrounding the Adani Group is the announcement by the Kenya Electricity Transmission Company, KETRACO, that it has signed a 96 billion shillings deal with the Adani Energy Solutions that will see them construct and operate 4 transmission lines for a period of 30 years. And before the ink dries on the deal, President Ruto's new political ally, Raila Odinga, has backed the deal.
Otherwise, you're likely to try to condemn very reputable companies. As we see stories like Adani Gate. Adani company conglomerate is worth over $200 billion. It cannot be an Adani Gate. Deal with the issues as they are. If some people have made mistakes, let them own up that they made some mistakes. But do not begin to condemn innocent companies who are basically doing normal commercial transactions.
Odinga, who is eyeing the African Union Commission chairperson post, argues that the prevailing financial situation in the country, where taxes can no longer meet the development needs of a country, require deals such as those with the Adani Group under the public-private partnership model for infrastructure growth.
We've seen firsthand what some of these companies are able to do, what PPP can do to an economy. And therefore, what I'm trying to say is not to try to ostracize PPP as a concept.
Odinga, however, challenged government to be transparent about the contents of the deal.
You must change the way we address our planned PPPs if you protect the current positioning of Kenya as the most profitable and reliable destination for PPP's programs, and at the same time ensure that the interests of the people of Kenya are protected.
Odinga appears to be reading from a different script from that of Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who says the Adani deal takeover is a perpetuation of state capture.
We want to confirm that indeed our beloved republic is on the wrong path. Under the cloud of the impeachment drama, Kenya has been guptied by Adani the way South Africa was state captured. Kenya is facing an unprecedented threat of state capture.
Kalonzo, who was flanked by a section of Azimio luminaries, threatened to mobilize Kenyans to the streets to speak out against the mystery surrounding the Adani Group deals.
We reiterate our position that the impeachment drama was a smoke screen that was meant to divert the attention of Kenyans and provide cover for these multi-billion deals to be sealed by the bread-based government.
So, but in a quick rejoinder, again, responding to his very own statement, the ODM party leader has dismissed claims that they're in government, maintaining that the Orange Party is the opposition.
Well, its party National Executive Council, who conducted a 3-day retreat in Mombasa, say the formation of a broad-based government should not be misconstrued to mean that the party had ceased its activities and joined government.
An emotional Odinga revisited his struggles in establishing the opposition party, which he says has withstood the test of time and will be celebrating its 20 years of existence next year. His sentiments, of course, were echoed by the acting party leader, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o.
This comes as 4 of the party's top members, namely John Badi, Hassan Joho, Wycliffe Oparanya and Opiyo Wandayi, resigned from the party leadership and joined cabinet under the broad-based government.
Tuliweka kazi, manake tulikuwa na chama kimoja kisheria, tukasema sisi tunataka kuundisha chama. Nilipokuwa nataka kuundisha chama ndio wakaenda kwa bunge na kubadilisha katiba, wakasema chama ni moja pekee yake, mama na baba kando pekee yake. Sisi tukasema hapana, hii si sawa sawa. Ukanipuka tukachukuliwa tukawekwa ndani. Miaka 6 ndani, unatoka ndani, miezi 6 tena ndani, unatoka ndani tena, mwaka moja ndani tena. Sisi Wakenya, mimi nakufa, lakini mimi nakufa kwa niaba ya Wakenya. Kwa hivyo saa ingine mkani sisi tunakuwa na hasira, ni sababu wengine waandishi wa habari hawaelewi, wanawake wao hawajaona mambo kama yale, lakini hii harakati ya ukombozi imetoka mbali. Wengine ambao wamechangia hakuweza kuja kuona pale kumefika. Hii katiba mpya haikuja kwa urahisi.
We have never left or departed from our vision to seize state power. That you must know. And one of the ways of seizing state power is to empower our people to know that the ballot is important in seizing state power.
The oldest party, the most organized party, which we are closing 20 years, miaka 20, kuweka chama, kikawa intact. We have never ever said yet we have been in power. But despite all that, this is a very, very strong party. I want you to be proud of yourselves. And always remember, you are a social democracy. And social democracy entails you keep the country first. But it does not mean that we're in a government at any time.
Now, Edna Komboka, who hails from Nyamacheo in Kisii County, is pleading for support to raise 13 million shillings to enable her undergo a critical surgery abroad.
Komboka, who for the last 14 years has battled endometriosis, is required to go for her 5th surgery to ease her suffering and give her a shortened life.
Edna Komboka is walking a tightrope as she seeks to raise enough funds to enable her undergo the 5th in a series of surgeries in the last 14 years as she battles endometriosis. Hers is a journey which she says has not been easy, recalling the emotional and psychological turmoil after she was diagnosed with the disease.
It reached a point, tumbo ikaanza kufura. I went to a certain gyna, and then he sent me for a scan. That's where he realized that I have a cyst. So I was last to an operation, and then but the pain didn't go. After a week, pain bado ilikuwa that very, very, very painful.
She recounts to us how she was forced to quit her job owing to the severe symptoms associated with the disease, which include, among others, excruciating period pain and fatigue.
For living, I'm a front office, but for now I'm not working because of the condition. You are fine almost 1 week, the whole month. So it was difficult for them. So I was given a sick leave. When I will recover, maybe it's when I will turn to work.
Since leaving her job, she has relied on her family and friends for financial support, which has not been an easy journey. Despite these challenges, she's yet to give up amid hope the 5th surgery could be the key to the much-needed relief. However, it is a surgery that comes with a heavy price tag of 13 million Kenya shillings.
I get my money from friends and the family. They support me a lot. Because when I go out there, I explain to people about my story, and then somebody tu anajitolea anasikia tu kilio yangu. Starting my journey this October 2024 to the Center for Endometriosis.
To support Edna get the life-saving surgery, you can channel funds to pay bill number 5036406. Account, enter your name. You can also reach her via telephone number 0724010091.
To assist Kwamboka there, you can send your contributions to 0724010091. And I'm sure it's going to go a long way to ensure that she lives a healthier and better life. Now that ushers our conversation tonight. Kenya had a target of 2022 to eradicate female genital mutilation. We're in 2024 and a report is already out that the North is actually leading in the burden when it comes to matters of FGM cases that are reported, with Kisii coming in at position 5. Question is, what is being done by those that are charged with this particular mandate? Joining us tonight is none other than Ipato Korema Surum, who is the chairperson of the Anti-FGM Board. Karibu sana, ma'am. You look very nice.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I like the outfit.
Thank you.
Now, the campaigners, and also there are those naysayers who have said that despite the figures indicating a drop to 15% in terms of cases, reported cases of FGM, that is not the actual statistics on ground. You've worked, you've been on ground. What is your take in regard to this?
Yeah, you know, someone may say it is not the actual figures. And there is no figure that is always exact when statistics are being carried on. The statistics we are using now are from the Kenya Demographic Health Service.
Yes.
That was carried out between 2014 and 2020, released in 2022.
Yes.
So that is where the source of the statistics. And I think it is the statistics being used all over the country. And it is not only taking surveys on only FGM. The indicators are so many.
Yeah,
they
including
do for nutrition, mother fatalities,
as well as also gender-based violence. But then the question is then, have the numbers, you know, of FGM victims, or rather reported cases, dropped then?
Yeah, according to the statistics. And the intervals that the surveys are being carried on, from 1998 to 2022, it has tremendously gone down.
It has dropped. So from where you sit as a board then, Madam Ipato, what has led to this, you know, gradual drop in our rights of passage, though prohibited under the Kenyan law?
Yes.
What has led to this drop?
It has been dropped by so many factors. First is when it was realized and taken as a human right violation in Kenya, and this board was put in place by 2011. The law was taken to Parliament in 2011 and passed, and then the board started in 2014. Beyond that, we have always had other partners working on the ground, like the NGOs that we have, the churches, and people going to school.
So education, actually it indicates that prevalence of FGM among those who've attained secondary school is at 5%, and when you compare to those who haven't attended school, is at around 50-point-something%. So it shows that education is a positive move when it comes.
The more you get educated, the lesser children will go through FGM.
UNICEF report of 2021 indicates that now we have a new term, you know, when it comes to FGM. We have now medicalized female genital mutilation is on the rise. As a board, have you encountered with these cases, and why is this form of FGM now taking root, or rather becoming popular?
It is still under research, though it has been identified mostly in Kisii County, that medicalization is at around 17%. This medicalization is something, I can say it's outlawed. It is not something that is accepted anywhere, because it is a way to try and convince the community that we are not going to harm anybody. It is being done for commercialization. You may find that most people who are doing it, practicing it, are the retired medics who does it in hidden places. They are not coming out clear and doing it openly.
So medicalization in itself is not, it doesn't mean that it is you know, a medically approved procedure.
No.
It's just that it is done in formal setups.
It is being practiced by medics. Especially the retirees.
Especially the retirees. On that note, in as far as matters of FGM are concerned, we take our first break. Remember, you can also be part of this conversation. Get us on X at KBC Channel 1. And the question I'm posing to you as a viewer, where are the men in this conversation when you talk about female genital mutilation? Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Pata the master flare kwenye star 570 hash option ya 4 na ushindi wako tunautangaza the 6th of October. Tucheze, tusaidie, tushinde!
Wananifurusha hapa, mimi nimelelewa hapa. Na wewe nani alikuambia kwamba hii nyumba ni ya babako?
Saideje Kalum?
Una mashani ni mpenzi wangu.
Tumenita nini?
Unasema uongo baada ya machafu yote kakako aliyokufanyia.
Mimi kuna kitu sielewi kabisa, mimi sikuelewi.
Wala siko tayari kukuelewesha, umenisikia?
Mimi nimekuwa huko nje miaka mingapi? Mbona haikuwa aibu jamani?
Back. This is Sunday Express, and the conversation tonight is eradication of FGM. And before we took that quick breather, we were looking at what is happening down in Kisii County that is leading in, medicalized FGM. And my guest today is a chairperson of the anti-female genital mutilation board. That is the anti-FGM board. That is Ipato Surum. Now, medicalized FGM, you are unpacking that. You know, it's not a process. It's just that it is being done by professionals behind closed doors. So we are also saying that there are those who are already commercializing this particular vice. But then also looking at the other side of commercialization of FGM, we are seeing that those who are supposed to be helping, you know, these particular victims of FGM have also now decided to take advantage by setting up four NGOs, four homes where these children can run to. What as a board are you doing to ensure that, you know, we deal with these people because they're taking advantage?
Let me first say that it is true that medicalization is being practiced by medical doctors.
Yes.
And that is why it is called medicalization.
Yes.
It is not at all allowed anywhere. And the process or the strategies we are putting in place is the same strategies that we started putting to stop it at all. What we are really doing here is that we are in the process of reviewing the anti-FGM, the FGM Prohibition Act, mainly for the charges to be increased, because we sat down as a board and found that this fine of 200,000 shillings is just too low for someone who has done that magnitude of harm on a person. The 3 years jail is still low.
Yes.
Because if you see like the Defilement Act, the charges are 15 years imprisonment.
Yes.
I think it should go the same way.
To the same extent when it comes to the law. Then also I see the board, sorry.
Because we are not yet done.
Yes.
Because it is also a process. To review the act is a process.
Yes.
We are in a stage where we can say we are maybe halfway.
Halfway.
Yes. And that is one of the things, because for someone who's very well aware that FGM is a violation of human rights and a tragic one, we do not really know which other way to stop that person from doing that, apart from him being taken for prosecution and heavily charged.
Heavily charged. But then have you considered, an alternative? Because there are those who would argue that this is a rite of passage. It is part of our culture and tradition. Is there an alternative that is being offered?
Yeah, we are really doing it. There is normally a training where girls are taken through, mainly during the end of the year. Our end of the year is normally very busy. Our main active season is from this time where we are now to end of the year.
Okay.
We really traverse the whole county, the whole country, and hold several rites of passage functions for these girls not to go through mutilation, but just to have that ceremony, give them certificates, recognize them for coming for trainings, and recognizing also our partners who have been helpful in this field.
Talking about partners, because this is a multi-sectoral activity, do you have a helpline? Imagine, we are calling this as the cutting season. Once the children close their school for the next two months, this is a cut season.
Yes.
So if a child would find herself in this situation, is there a helpline they can call and get assisted, or rather get rescued from undergoing FGM?
We at the county level, we have the county commissioner's office, and we have a county anti-FGM steering committee.
Yes.
That the county commissioner is the chairman, and the co-chairperson is the CC for gender in every county. And I think for the 22 hotspot counties, those committees are in place.
So, and how would they know, like members of the public who are watching right now, who may actually want the children are potential victims right now, given that this is a cut season towards December. What line can they reach, or how can they report even before it happens, so that they can get rescue and support?
What we've done on the ground is that every location has got a chief, and the chief has got a support system of so many champions fighting against FGM. We did that to every village. There must be someone who is in the look, and then connected to the national government administration officers for them to reach the county commissioner.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, as you come to a close, there's a campaign that you're running, you know, that you launched during the International Day of the African Child. Maybe you can mention on it quickly as we wrap up the conversation.
The campaign, what
the girl campaign in terms of no child, basically it's no girl left behind and focusing on education.
Yeah, we do not launch it on the day of the International Day of the Girl. The International Day of the Girl is a day that was started in 2011.
Yes.
And to be celebrated annually.
Yes.
On the 11th October every year.
We're looking at a campaign that the board is actually spearheading to, you know, to create more awareness during this time.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have those functions.
Yes.
Sensitization or the campaign by the board is a continuous process.
Okay.
We do not have a certain time we say that this is our only time to campaign.
Okay.
I just mentioned this period saying that it is the busiest period for us because we are preparing for protection of our children during the holiday.
The high peak.
But the campaign is continuous.
Ongoing.
We have several functions coming up. Like you just mentioned that what is the place of men.
Yes. As we come to a close,
yes.
Yeah.
So we've been able to engage male or men, especially the elderly, who are the custodians of culture. And we've been able to do some declarations by maybe the Pokot, the Samburu elders in Njurunjege, and we are anticipating to do one in November 7th for the Sabaot elders.
Thank you very much. We'll be keeping tabs on that. I know October is designated. We are going to be having the 16 days of activism, and that is one of the conversations we're going to be having. Sadly, we had to move away from that conversation and delve into matters sports. But just to give you an overview, we have been talking to the chairperson of the anti-FGM board, that is Ipato Korema's room, telling us what the board is doing ahead of the high season, FGM high season, so to speak, or rather the cutting season. They're saying that chiefs have been enabled to actually get who is in charge and actually save these children if that actually was to occur. We'll continue with this conversation. Now, let's pick matters sports there. We're going to be looking at sports in not too long, and we'd want to first look at hundreds of delegates have arrived at the Butiama to commemorate 25 years since the death of the first president of the Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, that is. Organizers say that the meeting seeks to tear down the barriers of division in Africa and marks the second phase of the integration where the youth with the game changers. The meeting is organized by East Africa Mashiriki First, bringing together young people, mainly from East Africa, to speak in one voice on matters unity.
Over 2,000 delegates are expected to converge in Butiama district, the birthplace and the final resting place of the first president of Tanzania, Mwalimu Julius Nyerere, for the commemoration of Silver Jubilee of his death. The meeting, convened under the Africa Mashariki Fest, according to the organizers, seek to ignite and turbo change the next phase of East Africa integration, where the youth will be the central drivers. Dubbed Twende Butiama, the organizers are banking on the simplicity portrayed by Nyerere, both in life and his death. They say Nyerere believed in communal life espoused by his African socialism, where all were equal, devoid of the Western capitalism. And true to the calling, the organizers will be using the conference to showcase some of Nyerere's work at the Julius Nyerere Museum, tracing in life to his death, and even the vehicle that ferried him to his last sojourn, never to return. Kasi Chenamasha, Sunday Express.
To sports, the National Rugby Sevens team Shujaa retained the Safari Sevens title after defeating Shogun Rugby 12-0 in the final played at the Machakos Stadium. After a finally balanced first half that ended 0-0, the Kenya Rugby team kicked second gear and in a dominant and classy second half that saw them eventually run out with a 12-0 win. Patrick Odong UN converted a try, and Ben Salem's effort just before the end of the game proved vital as Shujaa won the 2024 Safari Sevens title. Meanwhile, in the women's final, the Kenya Lionesses missed out yet another after losing 24-10 to Spain's Costa Blanca. This year's edition attracted a total of 10 men's teams and 6 ladies' sides. Now, Eritrea's Mulebahan Henok won the men's elite under-23 title at this year's CAC Road Cycling Africa Championship, which ended today in Iten. Now, Henok clocked 3 hours, 46 minutes and 21 seconds, emerging victorious in the event, which started in Eldoret town and ended in Iten, and covered a total distance of 175 kilometers. South Africa's Van Eyck Emil clocked 3 hours, 46 minutes and 23 seconds to finish second, while Charles Kaigumu of Uganda finished third. Warotere Gishero Efantas was a top Kenyan finisher, crossing the finish line at the 27th spot, while Edwin Ndongo and Ivan Kimani Wangai completed the event in the 29th and 32nd positions, respectively. Participants used the event to prepare for the World Cycling Championship, which are going to be held in Rwanda next year. The national men's under-20 soccer team Rising Stars stayed on course of qualifying for the semi-finals of the ongoing AFCON under-2025 Sakafa qualifiers after defeating Djibouti 4-0 in a match played in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Kevin Wangaya scored a brace in the 11th and 26th minutes, while Lawrence Okoth and Hassan Kitsao added a one piece to guide Kenya to the emphatic win. Following the win, Kenya has 1 foot in the semi-final ahead of the final Group A match against Sudan on the 15th of October. Kenya has now registered 2 wins out of the matches played, following victories against Tanzania and Djibouti and a draw against Rwanda. Two top teams from the 2 groups will lead the semi-finals scheduled for Friday, October 18th, with the final set to be played on Sunday, October 20th. 2 finalists will represent the Sekafa region in the next year's Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations finals.
Tei Hassan aligongana na mwenzake, na ndipo ambapo shughuli.
Now, still keeping up with sports, a former Football Kenya Federation CEO Barry Otieno is the latest entrant into the FKF presidential race after he announced his intention to vie for the top seat. Barry now joins Hussein Mohammed and Tom Alila, who have already declared their candidacy for the presidential seat in the forthcoming national football election slated for December 7th this year.
Barry Otieno stepped down from his role as the CEO of Football Kenya Federation last week, with Nairobi City Star CEO Patrick Korir replacing him. In his notice to vie for the country's top football seat, Barry expressed his desire to elevate the Kenyan football standards, outlining key 4 areas that he will put the focus on, which include club empowerment, improved governance and development of grassroots soccer. Barry Otieno joined FKF as a communications manager from 2016 to 2017 before he became the head of communications and marketing from 2017 to 2019. He was later appointed the CEO in 2019 after Robert Muthomi stepped down from the position. Barry now joins the list of growing candidates who have announced their candidacy for the FKF presidency, with Tom Alila and Hussein Mohammed having already done so. The national football elections is scheduled December 7th. Bernard Okumu, Sunday Express.
Deputy Chief of Staff in charge of Performance and Delivery Management in the Executive Office of President William Ruto, Eli Dewalo, has called on stakeholders in the soccer industry to elect leaders of good standing in the society in the forthcoming football elections.
Owalo said poor management is one of the major challenges that has inhibited the growth of soccer in the country. Owalo spoke as he donated tracksuits and other sorted equipment to grassroots teams in Siaya County. Through the Eliud Owalo Foundation, the Deputy Chief of Staff donated a total of 60 sets of tracksuits to lower tier sides at Dero FC and Sigera FC at Nyilima Sports Grounds in Siaya County.
This opportunity that you guys have this time around, these FKF elections, please elect the right people to office. Elect the right people to office. People who have got a passion for the what? The game. So that we can uplift the standards of soccer and take back soccer to where soccer was in the 80s, yeah, and 90s, where Kenyan soccer was those days. The biggest challenge we have is bad governance. If there is bad governance in football, the private sector will not put money in what? In football.
Meanwhile, Mary Kandu defended her ladies Division 1 title during the NCBA Golf Series leg at Nyali Golf and Country Club in Mombasa. Top finishers in the tournament across several categories clinched slots in the series grand finale scheduled next month at Muthaiga Golf Club. More than 200 golfers took part in the Nyali leg. Jack Mureithi, playing off handicap 36, posted 45 points to emerge the overall winner in Division 3, while David Kagoro won the junior category with 43 points off handicap 35. Agnes Nyambura and Wangoro Kihara won the staff and guest categories after posting 33 and 38 points respectively. The series will now head to Great Rift Valley Lodge for the final qualifying leg scheduled October 26th.
The class was playing really well today. Although we had some rain, the course was really of condition. The weather was perfect. Bearing that in mind that in coastal region, it's always the difficult and hot weather. I'm going to be participating in the grand finale in Haida on 29th of November. It feels nice to participate among the elite golfers in the country. I'm hoping to win again on Division 1, and I'm looking forward to be part of the team.
Well, for me to win today, I guess I can attribute it to my 4-ball. Very competitive. Of course, golf is a game of mental strength. I played well from the first to the 18th hole. It was a good day of golf. Some rain at the first holes, but weather cleared up.
Grand finale is going to be on the 29th of November. It will be hosted at Muthaiga. This is where all the qualifiers, club series gather, including those that qualified from our regional subsidiaries in Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda, as well as across the country. We also use it as a platform to invite our clients. And so we are looking forward to a fantastic day of golfing and socializing.
Finally, Kenya drew 0-0 with Alliance IMC in their second match of the ongoing Masters Hockey World Cup in Cape Town, South Africa. Kenya had lost 2-1 to Malaysia in their opening match and sought to bag the first maximum points against a sturdy opponent. Kenya will be seeking to revive their hopes of advancing in the tournament when they face Singapore on Tuesday before winding up its group matches against Germany. Bernard Okumu, Sunday Express.
Well, that effectively puts a cap on matters Sunday Express tonight. I'm Regina. Manyara, have a pleasant week ahead.
Absolutely, and of course, it's a very busy week that begins tomorrow. The impeachment of Kericho Governor, that is Eric Mutai, which begins tomorrow, and then on Wednesday, the impeachment proceedings against Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And of course, those decisions must be made on the second day, which means by Tuesday evening, we will know the fate of Eric Mutai, the governor for Kericho, and by Thursday evening, the fate of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. And you can be sure to catch up all this action right here on KBC Channel 1. Good night. Have a fantastic week. My name is John Jacob Kioria.
KDIC, safer, stronger together.